we had a chicken one night from Pack and Save. It was a soy, I think it was honey soy, and it was a nice flavour. I've just been eating a bit. I think they're a good buy, because it goes on. We've had several meals out of it. Okay, it's all yours. I don't know whether you want a couple of tomatoes. As well, I don't know. All right.
Fabulous. Just fabulous. Sounds so fabulous.
The silver beet's so fresh, probably straight out of the garden this morning. I think it's really nice.
Oh, yummy.
I just steamed it.
I'm gonna put some butter on mine. Butter on mine. Yummy, yummy.
This year we were searching for something, not far away from home.
Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum.
get that on my own. So please feel free to take the -7. Thanks.
Yeah, right, okay.
7.
Great advice from Steph now. -7, £7. Top in 47. Okay, Zaki, what do you say?
I think 7 I can do. We can stick at 7, yeah.
You're going to stick at 7 in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, 7 it is. Beastie.
Well, if you get home and then you turn the score from, say, a 15 to a 20, that's absolutely the right move.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if you get home.
No, indeed. Okay, Zaki for £7. The chase is on. I think it's an unnecessary risk. Good luck. Here comes your first question. Which fictional character lived with his aunt in Pett Bottom in Kent after being orphaned as a child? A. James Bond. B. Jason Bourne. C. Jack Ryan. You've put James Bond. Do you know what? I'll go along with that. Correct answer is... Well played, step close at home, Chasers put. Yeah, okay. Here's the next question. What did Dame Edna Everage often call her audience? A. Possums. B. Koalas. C. Dingoes.
Possums.
Possums, yeah.
I think so.
Correct answer is... Possums is right, step close at home, Chasers put. Goes right, Possums, no problem at all.
Danny LaRue and Dame Edna Everage on the same show.
Indeed. Here's the next question. Which of these is not followed by the word minor in the name of one of the 88 recognised constellations? A. Ursa. B. Canis. C. Taurus. You put Taurus, yeah. Got to be in it.
I think so.
Correct answer is... Oh, you're good, Zaki. He's good. Can play, Steph. Step close over. Well done. Chasers put. Goes right, Taurus, yeah. Here's the next question. 2 more at home and dry. St Boniface Down is the highest point on what island off the English coast? A. Canvey Island. B. Lindisfarne. C. Isle of Wight.
I'd say Isle of Wight.
Isle of Wight.
I have no idea. It sounded like kind of an Isle of Wighty kind of name.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at the Isle of Wight countless times. I don't remember that at all. Correct answer is... Oh, unbelievable. Step close to home. Great answer. Chasers put. Never heard of that.
Well, St Boniface was actually born in Crediton in Devon, but it didn't really help with this question, so I simply went for the one which was nearest to Devon.
Yeah, okay, here we go. One more home draw. In actual fact, get this right, you'd have had 2 goes at 47 grand. Here's your question. Which of these describes a childish sulk? A. Lardy. B. Tardy. C. Mardy. You put Mardy. Game over.
Hopefully that's right.
Yeah, correct answer is to go through with 7 grand.
You did well.
Well played, young man. That was a terrific performance. Well done, Saki. Brilliant. 47k. Now then. Now then.
Nice one.
That was good. Okay, game on. Beastie Boy.
They're both at least 20 years younger than me, so it depends how the questions fall. If the entertainment and sports questions are, say, from back in the 70s, 80s,
You're all
good news for me. If the questions are mainly from the 21st century, I've got a game on my hand.
Indeed. Zaki and Steph have made it through to the final chase. Total prize fund £47,000. 23.5 grand each, of course. Can they get away with it, Beastie?
No.
We'll see after the break.
Coming up on One News at 6, more heartbreak for New Zealanders living overseas wanting a spot in MIQ. Plus, when Kiwis can resume quarantine-free travel to Australia. A push for an overhaul of how reading is taught in our schools by some parents say a new move by the Ministry of Education isn't enough. And we're at a special celebration for a World War II pilot. See you soon. Jackson.
Taste the yumminess of summer. 3 yummy nectarine flavours growing in the Hawke's Bay. Which is your favourite? The tangy classic? Sweet pearl? Or is it the mellow honey? Yummy nectarines. In stores now.
Take the new year by storm with Rebel's first in, first serve sale. And 15% off store-wide. Step into the new year in style and get amongst the hottest gear this summer. Ends Monday, only at Rebel Sports.
How's your dinner?
That was nice.
What, wasn't it?
It was very yummy.
not doing so well, are they?
They might
They
lose.
really need to get up to like 20 or so. Well, 15's not bad. 15.
Now, I've got to be honest, I was expecting 19.
They had there were a lot of the questions where you had to listen very carefully to the clues in the question.
Yeah.
And they missed a few, like, for example, the one about Streetwise and Wise and Another time you get that right, but you just didn't hear it.
There you go. Okay, now remember, if the beast gets a question wrong and Zaki and Steph get it right, they push him back one step. It is now time for the final chase. Okay, Beastie Boy, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Your time starts now. What hot beverage can be made with triple certified beans?
Coffee?
Correct. Argos is a city in what European country?
Greece?
Correct. Which Latin American singer was born Enrique Martin Morales?
Ricky Martin?
Correct. What great apes are the largest tree-dwelling animals?
Orangutan?
Correct. What does the M stand for in the Cunard Ocean line of the QM2?
Mary?
Correct. What fruit is grown in a vignoble?
Grapes?
Correct. What fuel is the biggest export of Iran?
Oil?
Correct. What racket sport had its first World Open 1976?
Tennis?
Stop the clock, that is wrong. What racket sport had its first World Open 1976?
Squash badminton.
76. Squash, not quite. Both old.
Say squash.
Squash.
Squash?
It's correct. Push the chaser back. 9 to catch. 1 minute and 21 seconds remaining. Your time starts again now. The Somali wild ass is native to what continent?
Africa?
Correct. What is the latest month of the year to end with the letter Y?
July?
Correct. In Cockney slang, how much is a monkey minus a ton?
400?
Correct. Bavarian Blue is a German variety of what dairy product?
Cheese?
Correct. Which former US First Lady died in New York, 1994?
Betty Ford?
Stop the clock. That is wrong. Which former Which
Damn,
former US
I
First Lady
find
died
you
in New York,
frustrating.
1994?
Sometimes I have
Nancy
only
Reagan?
got
Jackie
No,
Kennedy?
Jackie,
And
that's
you
it.
Actually,
read
one of the
one.
famous
This
ones.
time
Jackie
you
Kennedy, you're right.
haven't
Yeah, okay, bad luck. Okay, 5 to catch,
So-
52 seconds remaining. Your
Really
time
good
starts
ones,
again. Now, Prime Early Access is a feature of what retail website?
Oh, the only
Correct.
problem is
On
that,
birds, what anatomical part is a pinion?
well, I could eat it for pudding, couldn't I?
Yes.
It's a bone.
Stop the clock.
Go
That is
scroll
wrong.
with
On birds, what
orange.
anatomical part is a pinion?
Joint. I reckon it's a joint. I think it's a beak. I think it's a joint. I don't know. What do you reckon?
You probably know more about
Okay.
it than I do, so yeah.
Is it a joint?
Heather?
Wing.
I've
Just wing, that's all it is. Okay, 4 to catch, 40 seconds remaining. Your time starts again. Now, Cancro is the Italian name for what zodiac sign?
Cancer?
Correct. What UK pie brand uses the slogan, the people's pie?
Greggs?
Stop the clock, that is wrong. What UK pie brand uses the slogan, the people's pie?
Pucker pie. I
Pucker
reckon.
pie.
Do you reckon?
There's pucker pie. What other pies is there?
I think pucker pie is the only one I can think of. Pucker pie?
It's correct. Push the chaser back, 4 to catch. 4 to catch, 31 seconds remaining.
I know there'll be a Stewart's inquiry over that, but I genuinely had no idea that, and I've got a pie question wrong.
Here we go. All right, your time starts again. Now, the computing pioneer Ada Lovelace lived in what century?
19th.
Correct. What country is the setting for the film Hotel Mumbai?
India?
Correct. Which comic novelist wrote the book Very Good Jeeves?
Woodhouse?
Correct. Who presents the TV show Jamie's Meat-Free Meals?
Jamie Oliver?
Correct. Whoa, I tell you what,
10 seconds I wanted to say Worcester every time to...
Teams in Worcester.
Yeah, and I had to go, it's not, that's...
4 attempts to push back, 2 executed. Closer than we thought in the end there. Had you got the other 2 pushbacks, you'd have nailed it. You'd have taken home the man. Simple as that. Sadly, it'll take away the 47 grand and fun into the Zaki and Steve. You have been caught. View the chase is now over. Beastie.
Phew.
Well, but there you are, few indeed. But the Beast takes down my team with 8 seconds remaining, and Zaki and Steph go home empty-handed. Now,
Ah.
could you beat the Beast on pies? Come on, have a go. You might be clever enough. We'll see you next time on The Chase. Goodbye.
Tonight on One News, quarantine-free travel to Australia is back on with new
These
rules
is to
for
take
treating
home.
MIQ as transit hotels. Will it free up more space for desperate Kiwis stuck overseas? A wake-up call on climate change. The new report warning urgent government actions needed, including changes to farming, what we drive and how we power new homes.
This is one of the most significant pieces of work that this government will undertake.
Plus, calls to change the way we teach reading in schools. The move to put millions of new books into the classrooms, why some parents say it doesn't go far enough. Heidi Mai, welcome to One News. Australia is reopening its doors to New Zealand travellers, with health authorities giving the go-ahead for green zone flights to start again late this afternoon. It comes after no further community cases of COVID-19 were reported today. Katie Bradford joins us from Auckland International Airport, where the first flight to Australia is about to leave. Katie.
Kia ora, good evening. Yes, well, late this afternoon, Australia's Chief Medical Officer of Health gave the green light to those green zone flights. It was just 6 days ago that they came to an abrupt end in the wake of those Pullman cases. Well, today they're taking the break off this and are saying immediately flights can start returning to Australia. There was a flight due to leave here in just a few minutes. It's been delayed slightly while I think they work through some of the rules that are now in place. Australia is saying that anyone who travels from New Zealand will need to have pre and post flight checks. Now that's checking for COVID symptoms, checking whether people have had any contact with anyone who may have had COVID. So that's a new rule that's been put in place there, but it's some good news and perhaps moving us just that little bit closer towards a Trans-Tasman bubble.
Yeah, and Katie, just following on from your story last night, you're hearing from other Kiwis who are desperate to get a spot in managed isolation.
Yes, we heard that story last night of Trevor stuck in Japan with a brain tumour and being rejected from coming to New Zealand. Good news for him now, but since then I've heard so many stories from people desperate to come back, desperate to get some of those precious MIQ spots. Not only do they want that, they also want some changes to the system. Laughter after days of tears, relief written all over the faces of Trevor Ponting's friends and family.
We were elated and just grateful to everyone that helped us.
For unknown reasons, MB had declined Mr Ponting's emergency application for a managed isolation spot, despite him having just months to live.
Recently, I diagnosed with brain cancer.
Now work's underway to get him, his wife and 2 young kids on a flight from Japan as soon as possible and tick all those required boxes.
Trevor in particular was really, really happy and sort of said to me, you know, oh, so I've been told I'm coming home, so that's really cool. And he just feels really grateful for all the support as well. He feels like the son of New Zealand, he said, so that was pretty classic.
The family can't understand how the decision was made in the first place.
I think it's clear that there needs to be some form of review. It has warranted the Minister asking officials to look again, and that sounds right to me.
MB says the most urgent reason applications are accepted are serious health risks or a child needing care. Since October, there have been 1,642 emergency applications, 609 have been approved, just over 1,000 declined. In the last week, 54% of applications were declined. Since One News told Trevor's story, we've been inundated with tales of other Kiwis in desperate situations overseas. Teenager Batu Wait, known as Rocky, has been stuck in Indonesia for over a year, caught in a bureaucratic tangle due to holding dual Indonesian and New Zealand citizenship. His distraught Taranaki-based father says Rocky just wants to come home and learn a trade.
You imagine it was your kid. And this is what dads are supposed to do.
He says Rocky feels trapped and he's worried about his mental health.
He is an asthmatic, he's locked up in his house, and he's terrified that he's going to die.
The Foreign Affairs Ministry says our embassy in Indonesia is providing Rocky with consular support, but his passport expires in October and the situation is becoming more urgent.
They won't let anybody near an aircraft unless you've got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. He's in the too-hard basket.
The 6-month wait for MIQ space is adding to the stress, but the government won't be adding more places.
With every person that returns, that is an increase in risk to New Zealand.
Families, they need compassion.
Those at the harsh end of the bureaucratic decision-making calling for a change in approach.
Katie, there's also been talk this week about around a dozen Kiwis who left for Australia as soon as they completed managed isolation, but that's tightened up.
Yes, well, that case came to light because of those Pullman cases, people who'd flown to New Zealand, isolated, and then immediately left for Australia. Our government hasn't kept track of just how many people have done that in recent times, but Australia, clearly unhappy with that, have said this afternoon that people must spend 14 days in New Zealand before they can travel to New Zealand. Now, that's not 14 days in isolation, that's 14 days on the ground, out and about. Clearly, Australia want changes to the way, they don't like the fact that that has happened. New Zealand being somewhat of a backdoor or transit way of people getting into Australia. That will change now, and as we see with so much of the situation, we are seeing daily changes to the way the rules work around this.
From a very quiet Auckland airport, Katie Bradford for us tonight. GPs are calling for complete transparency over the arrival of COVID vaccines here, warning the country must be realistic about potential delays. The call comes exactly a year on the World Health Organization's declaration of a global pandemic and amid increasing tensions around vaccine exports in Europe. Nicole Brimner reports.
1 year into pandemic life, the Kiwi summer's in full swing, with thoughts of COVID lurking just below the surface.
I'm worried about the South African strain.
It's totally messed up my school year.
Those MIQ places, they need to kind of lock it down a bit more, I reckon.
Others focused on the arrival of a long-awaited vaccine.
The next step is getting the vaccine now.
I can't wait till I get this.
I haven't taken a vaccine since I left home at 20.
If the vaccine acts as like a passport to travel, then I think everyone should get it, eh?
But GPs are warning of potential delays due to 3 key issues beyond New Zealand's control.
1, manufacturing problems. 2, some of the nationalistic approach that maybe we're seeing now in Europe, stopping the supply of vaccine. And 3, we have a very long global distribution chain.
GPs say these factors could jeopardise the government's purchase agreements with 4 vaccine suppliers, with a recent move by the EU to block vaccine exports ringing alarm bells at the World Health Organization.
It's not helpful to have any country at this stage putting export bans or barriers that will not allow for the free movement that will make vaccines available to all the world.
The Ministry of Health's now seeking urgent clarification on implications for local supply, but the PM's confident the vaccines will arrive on schedule before the end of March.
That is still absolutely our expectation. We already have a separate agreement with Pfizer, so we don't expect anything is likely to change in our delivery schedules there.
We can't set up false expectations, and I think the government needs to be very open, very transparent, and look, if push comes to shove and vaccines are delayed, we are still in a very good position.
Kiwis also mindful they're in a good place.
Our contacts overseas are suffering under huge strains.
The kids are a lot healthier since lockdown. I wouldn't say it's all back to normal, but it feels a lot more normal than it would be overseas.
This sunny scene testimony to that. Nicole Bregner, One News.
We're going to bring you some breaking news now. Western Australia has recorded a case of COVID-19 in the community, and a lockdown for Perth has just been announced. Health officials are right now holding an emergency press conference. Nicole Bremner joins us now. Kia ora, Nicole. What more do we know?
Yeah, kia ora, Melissa. This is a very fast-moving and breaking situation in West Australia. A security guard at a hotel has tested positive, and this ends 10 months of COVID-free living for central Perth. The Premier of West Australia, Mark McGowan, is giving a press conference. This is some of what he had to say a very short time ago.
So beginning at 6 p.m. tonight, the whole Perth metropolitan area, the Peel region and the southwest region will be going into full lockdown. This lockdown will last until 6 p.m. on Friday, a 5-day lockdown. It's crucial we act quickly to keep the community safe. We cannot forget how quickly this virus can spread, nor the devastation it can cause.
So things moving very quickly there in Western Australia. Emergency tracing, contact tracing is already underway. The hotel is the Sheraton 4 Points Hotel in the Perth CBD. That lockdown starts 6 p.m. Perth time, that is 11 p.m. our time, and it stays in force, as the Premier said, until 11 p.m. our time on Friday. Melissa.
Ngā mihi, Nicole, and you can head to our website for more on this developing story. No more gas connections, an end to coal use, and a phasing out of conventional cars. The Climate Commission's released its draft plan on how to slash the country's emissions, saying targets will not be met without strong and decisive action. Here's Imogen Wells.
A wake-up call for all New Zealanders. Unless swift changes are made, our climate goals are pipe dreams.
We, not just New Zealand, but the world, have made this a more challenging problem than it might have been had we acted sooner.
The Commission's first draft report outlining the urgent action needed from government.
If the policy sets that we're advocating, if combinations within them are accepted, then there is a pathway.
This is one of the most significant pieces of work that this government will undertake.
The report lists 17 critical steps to get the country to net zero emissions by 2050 and to reduce methane levels from plants and animals. They include reducing animal numbers on farms by 15% over the next 9 years, phasing out petrol cars by 2035, stopping new builds connecting to gas networks, and phasing out coal by 2030, which could see serious job losses in the industry.
We know what we want to achieve. We now are talking about the map to get there. And this is a welcome first step, but the details are really important.
The decisions that we take in this term of government will shape the future.
Also proposing the country's first emissions budgets, suggesting we reduce our greenhouse gases by 2% by 2025, by 17% by 2030, and by 36% by 2035.
Many reports have been produced by government which say we should be heading this way, but do they actually deliver?
The Commission, made up of climate experts, has found our Paris Climate Agreement efforts aren't strong enough to limit global warming.
We will begin work to revise them this year.
Every day and every year that we delay in taking action to achieve that, the harder it becomes.
There'll be public consultation for 6 weeks before the final report's submitted to Parliament at the end of May. Imogen Wells, One News.
There's devastation in Fiji as a Category 2 tropical cyclone intensifies, making its way through the country close to the capital, Suva. Police and the military are evacuating people from homes in low-lying areas as Cyclone Ana brings widespread flooding and winds of up to 140 kilometres an hour. On the island of Vanua Levu, the Bingata River has burst its banks, trapping some residents. Fiji is still recovering from the Category 5 cyclone Yasa, which hit last month, killing at least 4 people. There are fears 2 more tropical storms could hit the country in coming days. Parents of children with learning difficulties are calling for a complete change in the way reading is taught in our schools. The Education Ministry is printing more than 2.5 million new books using phonics, but some families say it's not enough. Corazon Miller with more.
Each sound offering a vital clue.
Dad, stop the van.
Helping 8-year-old Siam learn to read and write. But a year ago, words were a mystery.
It was awful. She didn't want to go to school and she started getting more anxious. It was a struggle every single day to get her to go to school.
This use of phonics, a method linking sounds to letters, is already used in schools. But now the Education Ministry is reinforcing it in these new books for early readers.
Let's get him to the vet. We've got the vet, so children in this book are learning about the letter V. And so they can work out how to read words. They're told how to do that. They're not limited to guessing words on a page.
Year 1 to 3 pupils will use the books. Parents of those who've struggled to read say it's a good start, but more could be done.
I think every New Zealand teacher deserves the opportunity to know how to teach all children to read, write and spell.
They want phonics to be the primary method of teaching, with training for all Year 1 and new entrant teachers.
But what we've heard from the profession is they've been looking for a bit more support to make sure a balanced approach is being taken to using both phonics as well as comprehension.
Until now, teachers have largely used a whole language approach, which involves recognising words rather than sounds.
There's research that says that works for some children, but not for all. It's about putting the weighting in the right place for the right student.
The debate around how to teach children to read can often be a fierce one, but what we know at the Ministry is a balanced approach is the way to go.
But parents like Alice Wilson say that's come at a price.
She's still behind. It's very hard to catch up with those 2 years.
Catching up, that's crucial as reading scores for Kiwi kids continue to slide down worldwide rankings. Corazon Miller, One News.
Hi there, Akine. Up next, a little girl has made a big discovery while walking on a UK beach.
You couldn't believe it was real.
What she found that dates back millions of years. Plus, a major storm hits the US, washing away half a major highway leading to a popular tourist spot. In the Super Bowl showdown, missing some key players, the big brands that won't be airing ads during the famous sporting event.
The celebs are taking on the chaser.
Pam, when I was at Teachers College 60-something years ago, we were teaching strongly phonics. And now they've come back to it after all these years.
Yes.
They go round and round with all these different theories. And the fact is that they've actually said it's really that one system doesn't suit all children. You need to be flexible. I think you learned very early to read. So did Andy. Not so sure about Bronnie. But I was helping you in New Guinea long before you were 5. Did I tell you that I've applied to the local school to go down to help children with reading?
No.
I applied in November, and they said the first thing they had to do was I had to fill in a form for police check. And I've done that, and the replies came back okay, but it was too late in the year for me to start. So I'm looking forward to that, because a lot of kids missed out, and probably still do, in lockdown, but some parents are too busy or too in love with their phones to listen to their children's reading. For years and years, we've sent children home with a book at their level, just a small book. And it's expected that a parent will hear the child and help them with it. And so many children don't get that. And I think, especially with lockdown, kids were sort of running wild, and they didn't settle to their lessons. So I hope I can help some children.
overheads. Indoor-outdoor flow. A water slide. Could be a good place to settle down. Let's talk.
Together, Kiwibank and Banker are growing the financial knowledge of the next generation. One classroom at a time.
I'm a bit of romantic, but I haven't really had too many opportunities to show my romance off.
The Bachelor at New Zealand starts tomorrow night on 2.
Cara Arnold. As most children head back to the classroom next week, some schools are still trying to fill vacancies. The Education Ministry predicts it can meet demand, but unions claim teachers who are available aren't always in the right location or have the right qualifications. May Heron reports.
Phoebe Waugh setting up for the first week back at school. It's her first time ever.
I'm really excited to meet all the kids and I hope that they're excited to come back to school as well.
She's just one of a record number of recent graduates, and with Kiwi teachers returning home from overseas, schools are in a much better position than a few years ago. But there are still concerning shortages.
Physics, maths, te reo Māori, chemistry and technology are still hard to staff in some areas. And of course there's some rural schools that still have a vacancy or even up to 5 that I'm aware of.
Schools are scratching their head around whether or not they're going to have the right teacher in the right part of the country with the right set of skills that that school needs.
NZEI has launched an independent review into staffing levels. The union says teachers have already indicated they feel under-resourced for overfilled classrooms and to deal with growing issues like inequality.
And we expect 2021 is going to further exacerbate that. I mean, schools are reporting that they are feeling on a knife's edge.
The Education Ministry says a report out last week showing some children were behind by up to 10 weeks because of lockdown was a wake-up call. It's been busy pre-recording more television episodes and organising packages ahead of any possible school shutdowns this year.
We're asking on a daily basis as we get new information, what do we need to change, what can we do better? So we're confident that we're able to respond and support our educators to respond well.
Teachers too also preparing in case of lockdown.
Really hope there isn't one soon, but if there is, then we will do everything that we can to make it as smooth as possible.
Here's hoping for a smoother year than the last one. May Heron, One News.
The second police gun buyback scheme begins tomorrow to collect further firearms and parts banned under new gun laws. Police say this year's buyback will be a lot smaller than 2019. There will be no large-scale collection events. Instead, gun owners will have to book appointments at their local station to hand in prohibited items. The previous buyback scheme saw more than 56,000 firearms and almost 200,000 parts collected, with $102 million paid in compensation. Around $15 million has been allocated for compensation for this buyback, which runs for 3 months. Post-Brexit, the UK has asked to join the Mammoth Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, known as the CPTPP. 11 countries are a part of it, and now the UK wants in, believing it'll provide the country with the best access to trade with other nations. The members will now meet to discuss the application and assess the UK's trade situation. New Zealand and the UK are on a third round of negotiations on a two-way trade deal. Farmers in India's capital are staging a hunger strike as they continue to protest new agriculture laws. Tens of thousands of demonstrators have been camped out for more than a month, and crowds are now blocking a main highway. The protesters say the legislation will favour large corporations, devastating the earnings of smaller farms. The government's now cut internet to parts of Delhi, it says, to maintain public safety. Severe storms continue to cause havoc across the US, with more than 100 million people placed on winter alert. From frozen fountains in freezing New York City to snowdrifts up to 3 metres deep in Southern California. Further north, huge downpours have washed away a big chunk of Highway 1 near Big Sur, the tourist hotspot renowned for its scenic and undeveloped coastline. Rain-slicked roads have also caused mayhem in Los Angeles, with dozens of accidents. A 4-year-old girl has made quite the discovery while out walking with her dad on a beach in South Wales. Lily Wilder stumbled across a dinosaur footprint believed to be one of the best impressions found in the UK. The footprint, measuring 10 centimetres long, was left 220 million years ago. Lily's dad saying she was just the right height to spot it.
Well, we just literally walking along the beach, doing the usual thing, looking at the shells and what have you. And Lily said, "Daddy, look at this." And there it was, this amazing footprint.
Let's hope the footprint can be used to help establish how these early dinosaurs walked. Near Utonu Mai, stay with us. Flying high, a World War II survivor celebrates another milestone as tales of his close shaves add to the Bomber Command legacy. Plus, sitting on the Super Bowl sidelines, some big names won't be advertising during the event, clearing the field for new players to take centre stage.
Sunny, warm days and cool nights are what we're enjoying right now. I'll be back with the outlook for the week ahead right after sport.
7 Sharp's returning next week and we're giving away a brand new car to one lucky viewer.
Tune in to win the ultimate SUV for a road trip, a 7-seater Skoda Kodiaq with all the bells and whistles right here on 7 Sharp next week.
The secret's out.
Have you noticed they keep looking at each other?
We can decide nearer the weekend, but Saturday, Sunday, Monday are a holiday. Miriam and her son, who's 10 years old, will be staying here for the night on Saturday night. Do you think it's possible that you could sleep in the office?
No. I think there'll be too many people as well.
You what?
I think there will be too many people.
Yes. So you can come out on Sunday and stay Monday. Okay?
Okay.
It'll be Waitangi weekend and there's always heaps going on down in Haurua. You might want to go and do a video.
Mm-hmm.
What is a direction finder? Like, you know, it's, I can't think of what you call it.
A compass.
That's it, compass. 13. Yeah. I knew it so well, but I couldn't just get it. This is tricky. Support one view over another. 4 letters and 5. Support one view over another.
How many letters?
4 and 5.
That's not bias, is it?
Well, there's 2 words. No, I'll look it up. The answer is take sides. Take sides.
big milestone today. Squadron leader Keith Bowles has just turned 100. Logan Church was at the birthday.
A flying salute to World War II Bomber Command Squadron leader Keith Bowles.
Bloody fine.
His 100th birthday bash acknowledged around the world.
We have a very special letter from a college in France that every year writes to living veterans.
The Air Force came to celebrate, along with proud family and friends.
Keith, I'm here to announce that it's your 100th birthday today. God save the Queen!
His first posting was to the Royal Air Force Tender Air Base in Singapore, but he was evacuated when the base fell to the Japanese in February 1942. A cablegram making its through to family with two important words.
He was just 21, a couple of days after 21 when he was evacuated on the Darvel, and it was bombed by the Japanese as they were trying to get away. It made several attempts, and he was just very, very lucky to come out of there alive.
He was then called to Britain flying Mosquitoes, his squadron marking the way for bombing raids in Europe later in the war.
I was immensely important. I mean, Bomber Command have been fighting since the early 40s properly, and Pathfinder Force were there to mark the targets.
A third of the 6,000 Kiwis in Bomber Command lost their lives. Keith Bowles helped campaign for recognition.
We're very grateful.
Today, those efforts remembered again.
They put their lives at risk and sacrificed everything to give us the life we have today.
This family man's sacrifice and service to his country certainly won't be forgotten. Logan Church, One News.
And a World War II veteran in America who's also celebrating his 100th birthday by leaping out of a plane.
That's about all there is left to do in life.
Charlie Montanaro, who delivered cargo to troops during the war, marking the milestone with a skydive, jumping from more than 13,000 feet.
When's he doing that at 100 years old?
He was all smiles as he touched down safely.
Crazy.
And get this, Charlie's already vowing to do another one.
I'm ready.
Love it. And with the countdown to the Super Bowl on, fans are being treated to the early release of some of the famous commercials. But a number of big companies are choosing to sit on the sidelines this year, making way for new players to buy the coveted ad time. ABC's Janai Norman has more.
It's the biggest advertising game of the year, with big-name brands shelling out roughly $5.5 million to buy just a 30-second commercial. But this year's Super Bowl ad showdown is shaping up to be unlike any other. Those galloping Clydesdales, that Coca-Cola catching polar bear, and those classic Pepsi cameos. Of course, Pepsi is all staying on the sidelines. Anheuser-Busch, PepsiCo, and Coca-Cola, three veteran Super Bowl advertisers, all announcing they won't be airing in-game ads from their flagship brands. The move clearing the field for first-time Super Bowl advertisers like Scott's, Miracle-Gro, and DoorDash.
Something like a Scott's Miracle-Gro. During pandemic lockdowns, you saw people have a renewed interest in gardening. DoorDash is another one that speaks to the time. Obviously, restaurant delivery has become hugely important during this time.
Okay, everybody ready? 10, 9.
And M&M's returning to the big game this year with one very special guest.
I'm obsessed with this.
Emmy Award-winning actor, director, and producer Dan Levy.
You've done other advertisements before. Tell me what makes this one different.
I thought it was so funny. I thought it was touching upon a very strange year. It was about bringing people together.
Is there anything else that you can share about your cameo appearance at this point?
In terms of the M&M world, my part is I would say it's a controversial tag on the end of this very funny spot. I feel badly for having done what I do in this ad, but you know what? Personally, it's worth it.
Right, and if that's your kind of thing, there's not long to wait to see more Super Bowl ads. The game is on next Monday, isn't that right, Steph?
It is.
Coming up, and yet the old American magic.
Staying in
Not
that part of
feeling
the
so
world.
good there.
Yeah, a couple of questions. Will Dean Barker carry on? Will the New York Yacht Club be back next time, Melissa?
We'll go to the States in just a moment, and America's Cup great joins us to try to answer those questions. Also tonight, they're out and in fresh air. We're with the Kiwi tennis players in their Aussie Open bubble in Melbourne. Plus a call to ban a Wellington horse race spectator for life. Hold on to your lazy boy. We go behind the scenes to explain the secret move made in Queenstown, which has stunned the global X Games.
All life in the oceans depends on the continuous movement of water.
This is on tonight.
This is the story of Earth's power and fragility.
Our perfect planet. Next on One.
You can't.
What was I going to say? I don't know. Hello, little sister. How are you? You had a good day? To their house? Ah, where? Oh, at Churton Park. Oh, yes. Well, I've got news that Kevin and Mary's daughter Miriam is going to be here next weekend. She's coming down by car to bring AJ, because he's starting Oh, well, I sent an email to them, at least a text, to say, to tell them, and suggesting maybe we might all get together for tea Saturday night. So well, either Paul and Nora's or here. Miriam and she's bringing her son, it's his 10th birthday, and they're going to stay with me here. Miriam is Mary and Kevin's eldest child. She's a lovely girl. She's married to Warwick and they've got 2 children. So Miriam is going to drive down from Auckland with her son and with AJ. AJ is her nephew. And so he's starting at a flat, and she's going to settle him in and see what he needs. Yes, yeah. When we had the reunion, AJ went back, they invited him to go back there for tea. So I think he's got a bit of a bond with Ricardo. So Ricardo might be, want to see him, and also Jacob, the 10-year-old, might like to. Miriam's son. Yeah. He's a lovely boy. He plays the violin. So we'll see. I'll see. I haven't had a reply from Paul and Nora yet. but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I went up to their wedding, Miriam and Warwick. Miriam is very good at maths, and she teaches in one of the North Shore colleges, and her husband is very musical, and he's head of music at a college up there. And for the last year, AJ has been living with them because he wasn't getting on with Kevin and Mary. So, it's lovely that they've been able to help AJ. I was a bit surprised that he wanted to come down to Wellington, but he said he wanted to get away from Auckland, and it may be that he wants to get away from his father, because his father's back on drugs again. Yeah, that's why David, yes, when AJ was born, David and his partner were both on drugs, and Mary was so upset about this little baby being born in that environment that she went to court, and she battled to get full custody of AJ. And she has really brought him up all these years. But in his last year at college, he got, I don't know, like teenagers do, he got a bit rebellious or something. And Miriam and her husband said, "Oh, let him come to us." So he had to change colleges, but he's clever. So it's been awfully sad for him having a father like that, because at times David has been okay and got a job and everything, but I don't know. Yes. But it's just very hard when somebody's been really addicted for them to keep free. Yeah. So, it'll be an interesting weekend. Are they? Oh, good. Yes. Yes, it'll be nice for us to try and keep in touch with him. Yeah. He tried to get into a university hostel, and he missed out. And so he's had to go into a flat with people he doesn't know, and it's quite expensive. So I don't know who's financing it. I suppose he'll get a loan, what do you call it, a student loan. So, yes, and it's Jacob's 10th birthday, so if we get Miriam's son Jacob, he's coming too, and it's his 10th birthday next weekend. So I just thought it'd be nice if we get together and have a cake for him, and yes, that'd be lovely. Oh, no, that's all right. Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, it'll just depend on what Paul and Nora want to do. I was talking it over with Campbell because it means he can't come out. There's not room for him if they have the spare room, but it's a long weekend, so he can still come out Sunday. He had a swim this afternoon. He said it was pretty cold because we've had a few days of southerly wind, and it always is cold then. But my next door neighbour, Shirley, she came over after lunch today and she said, "Cam, do you want to swim?" He says, "Oh no, not really." But she persuaded him, and yes. They both said it was cold, but they enjoyed it. So it's once you get in, it's not too bad. Okay. Yes. Okay. Bye.
I better pack my bag.
I'd like to give you one of the roti.
Is this going to be helpful for putting anything in?
Well, we can put these things in. Have you got any cheese?
No, I haven't.
I'll give you some of this one. What's that noise?
It's a car tooting. It's a car tooting.
Is it your thing?
No, it's a car tooting.
Well, it's unusual for it to go on so long.
Is today February the 1st?
Tomorrow is the February the 1st.
Today's the 31st of January.
Yes. a bottle of water to take back. And I'll give you this lemon water. Okay.
What was the question again?
Me to fill up a bottle of water.
No, with the lemon water.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Early in the day, northeast breezes and 21, and it's the same outlook for you, Mosgiel. Brief light rain at first, then fine. Tuesday is going to be fine for most. Isolated showers in Gisborne and northern Hawke's Bay, and isolated afternoon showers for Southland, Clutha and southern Otago. On Wednesday it's going to be fine for most, but isolated showers will continue for Gisborne. And that's it from me. Take care. Have a great week.
Ngā mihi iho. Well, tonight's good sort is a Hamilton man who's growing a forest in his very humble backyard. Maurice Chappell loves trees. He starts with seeds, where Hayden Jones picks up his story.
If you pick the right path in this maze of council flats, you'll find Maurice Chappell's humble backyard nursery.
Yeah, just babies, yeah.
Here's trees, native trees.
Oh, well, that's what I like to grow, yeah.
Kowhais and karakas.
Plus the Pahuta kawa.
They start as seeds.
These are the kowhai seeds inside these pots.
He then plants them.
My day starts just after 7 in the morning.
It's quite the commitment.
I water twice a day, night and morning. Yeah, I talk to them, yeah. Hurry up and grow or do something, yeah. When I see weeds, I curse, yeah. Bloody things. Trees seem to be my life.
When Maurice can't sleep,
go to bed, think about them, up there.
He gives them an electric blanket.
They take a while to heat up, but once they heat, they stay good, yeah.
Here comes trouble. His partner Audrey says Maurice needs to be kept busy.
It started off just a few, and he said, oh, when I get to 10,000, that's it. Well, he's up to about 12 now, but what else is he going to do?
I'll cut it off there.
That's right, Maurice Chappell has produced...
I'll be over 12,000.
12,000 trees, all grown from this tiny space at the back of his humble council flat.
But I've just got to put up with what I've got now. I've produced a lot of trees off this little bit of land out here.
Amazingly, Maurice then lets his trees go.
I grow them, give them away for free, and free delivery all around the country.
Maurice's trees are spread all around the North Island.
So I like helping people.
Including here in the Mokuiti Valley, where we find Maddie and Eva Dark watering Maurice's trees.
He's one of Mum's friends who turns seeds into trees.
This is Mum, Dani Dark.
When he turned up with his car loaded to the gunnels with these beautiful plants that he's obviously lovingly cared for over the last 2 years to get them to where they are, I was blown away.
The trees will end up here.
No, Maurice is going to love it. He's on a mission. He wants to see this filled with birds.
Back at Maurice's place, it becomes obvious why he loves trees.
Yeah, they're all imitation.
Here's a house of birds.
That's why the native birds I love very much, and I want to bring them back.
Maurice Chappell reckons he's got a couple more summers left.
Or till I'm 90.
I'll believe that when it happens.
Time is short when your mission is to grow a forest.
New Zealand needs a lot more trees.
In your tiny backyard.
Something to do, keep New Zealand green.
Hayden Jones, One News.
We're here. Quite good on you, Maurice. That is One News. This Sunday, the music's on. From the team, now Mihi Oti for good night.
A perfect planet. All life in the oceans depends on the continuous movement of water. There are not 5 separate oceans on Earth, but just one, whose parts are linked by powerful, unceasing currents. Every drop of seawater on Earth rides these currents, taking 1,000 years to complete a single circuit.
Can see that.
What did he say?
And where there are currents,
Takes 1,000 years for a complete mix of all the seawater.
off the coast of South Africa, dolphins are on the hunt. They have found a cold water current and are now travelling along it looking for food.
Isn't that amazing?
Gannets follow them. They know that doing so is the fastest way to a meal. A shoal of mackerel, just what the dolphins have been looking for. They encircle the fish, driving them into a bait ball, and then trap them against the surface to prevent them from escaping to deeper water. Now the fish are within range of the dive-bombing gannets, who hit the water at 50 miles an hour. A sudden gathering of thousands of predators brought together by the flow of currents. Last to the feast are sharks.
I wonder if sharks eat other fish a lot.
In these vast open waters, finding food would be all but impossible without currents. The highways of the seas that bring this life together. When the bait ball has been dispersed, all that is left are scales drifting downwards. They are part of a slow, never-ending blizzard of organic waste that eventually settles on the sea floor. But it doesn't stay here forever. The currents sweep it back up into the sunlit surface waters, where it nourishes clouds of phytoplankton, simple microscopic plants that are the pastures of the seas.
You'll have to go, Kev.
What time
There
is
are
it now?
thousands of different kinds, and together they produce half of all the oxygen in the atmosphere. More than all our forests and jungles combined. And by absorbing carbon, they are our greatest ally in combating climate change. Plankton are the foundation of almost all life in the ocean. For in those places where the currents bring nutrients to the surface, they multiply in astonishing numbers, turning the ocean green. The currents travelling through our oceans bring life to seas that would otherwise be marine deserts.
Well, where are my shoes?
After one of them, the heat flowing crumbles
And my shoes out here.
Thank you.
I won't be taking the hat, will I? Thank you. I'm gonna stick this in here. I'm gonna stick the iguana.
Have you got another hat in town?
No.
Well, you've got a cap in there. You better get that cap.
Oh, I don't like wearing caps. Actually, is it possible you don't have change for $20 because the poor. Oh, I should put it in my pocket. Because change is, I think, better.
Any longer than that, and his muscles will seize up, and he'll drown. For like most reptiles, he can't handle the cold.
What's he doing?
Chilly water isn't a problem for a warm-blooded cormorant. She can swim in it all day, but can only hold her breath for a few minutes.
Okay, so I'm. Oh.
You got your key, Cam?
I think so.
You got your key.
Yeah.
Seaweed cropping machine, but with the clock ticking, he must eat first.
I think I might put this on.
The cormorant, having caught its fish, goes back to the surface.
Where is your key?
In my bag.
Last mouthful, and it's also time for the iguana to head for home.
Oh, I have to have the phone.
Where's the key?
But to stop his muscles from seizing up in the cold water, he must get back quickly.
I remember the time you had to come all the way back out here.
So he could do without the attentions of an inquisitive sea lion.
Is that door open?
Yeah. Okay.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye. Oh.